Are you sure the things you do with your cat every single day are actually building trust and not quietly breaking it? Because most of what damages the bond between a cat and their owner does not look like damage at all. It looks completely normal. It looks like love, and that is exactly what makes these mistakes so dangerous. Most owners are making at least a few of them right now, without even knowing it. By the end of this video, you are going to recognize habits you have done this very week, maybe even today, and you are going to understand exactly why your cat reacted the way they did when you did them. Some of these will surprise you. A few of them might even sting a little, because they come from love, not carelessness. But love without understanding can still cost you trust. So stay until the end, because the very last one on this list is the one almost nobody talks about, and it is quietly responsible for more broken cat-owner bonds than all the others combined. 1. Waking them up just to get some cuddles. Have you ever looked at your cat sleeping and just had to touch them? Of course you have. We all have. They look so soft and peaceful that it feels almost criminal not to. So you reach over, you pet them, you pick them up, and they give you that slow blink of mild annoyance before settling back down. Harmless, right? Not exactly. Cats sleep between 12 and 16 hours a day, and that is not laziness. That is biological necessity. Their sleep cycles are tied directly to nervous system regulation, immune function, and emotional processing. When you interrupt that, especially repeatedly, you're introducing a low-level but consistent source of stress into their daily life. Your cat starts to learn that resting near you is not actually safe. That closeness comes with the risk of being disturbed. So, over time, they stop choosing the spot next to you on the couch. They find a quieter corner, a room you're not in. And here is the part most owners never connect. That slow blink you thought was affection is often closer to tolerance. Cats genuinely do show love through slow blinking, but context matters. A blink that follows being startled awake is not the same as a blink offered freely. If your cat is sleeping and you want to connect, let them come to you when they wake up naturally. Be the person they associate with rest and safety. That is the kind of presence that makes a cat choose you every single time, the same way you would feel about a roommate who never barges into your room while you are sleeping. 2. Skipping the litter box, even for one day. When was the last time you cleaned your cat's litter box? Be honest, because to you, skipping one day might feel like no big deal. Life gets busy, you'll get to it tomorrow. But to your cat, that box is their bathroom, their private space, their one place in the entire home where they feel completely in control. And when it's dirty, that sense of control disappears. Cats are hardwired for cleanliness in a way that goes far deeper than preference. In the wild, a dirty elimination site is a survival risk. It attracts predators, it signals vulnerability. That instinct does not switch off just because they live in your apartment. So, when the litter box gets neglected, their stress levels rise. And that stress has to go somewhere. Sometimes it goes to the corners of your bedroom floor. Sometimes it goes to the couch. But it always goes somewhere. That stress bleeds into how your cat feels about the entire environment, including you. You are the one in charge of their world. When their world feels unsafe or unclean, you become associated with that feeling. There is also a hidden layer here. Many owners assume a litter box problem is bad behaviour, and they react with frustration or punishment, which only deepens the damage. Because now the unsafe bathroom and an upset owner are linked in the cat's mind at the same time. Scoop once a day minimum, full clean once a week. It takes 4 minutes and it tells your cat that you are paying attention. That you are someone they can rely on. And hey, if this is making you realise your cat has been trying to tell you something all along, hit like and subscribe so we can reach more owners before these mistakes cost them something they can't get back. 3. Using your hands as toys during playtime. Have you ever let your cat bite or swat at your hands while playing and thought nothing of it? Almost every cat owner has done this. It feels playful, harmless, even cute when they're tiny. But what you're actually doing is training your cat that your hands are prey, and once that lesson is locked in, it does not go away easy. Here is what happens inside your cat's brain. When you wiggle your fingers and they pounce, their predatory instinct activates fully, and every time you let it happen, that association gets stronger. Hands equal target, hands equal chase, and that's how out of nowhere they bite too hard. What makes this one sneaky is the timing. A kitten's bite barely registers, so the owner laughs, maybe even encourages another round. By the time that kitten is a fully grown cat with adult jaw strength, the habit is years deep. And now everyone is confused about why out of nowhere the cat is biting hard during what looks like normal affection. It was never out of nowhere. It was built one tiny playtime at a time. The solution is to use a toy, a feather, anything that puts distance between your skin and their instincts, so that your hands stay the safe thing for them, the thing that feeds them, strokes them, and never the thing that gets hunted. And speaking of things we do without realizing, there is one habit coming up later in this video that is even more dangerous than this one. Just like most owners, you must be doing it multiple times a day. And before your cat registers you as a threat, stay with us, because that one is going to be an eye-opener. 4. Rearranging their space without any warning. Have you ever moved the furniture around and noticed your cat acting strange for days afterward? That is not your cat being dramatic. That is your cat experiencing something genuinely distressing. Here is what most people do not understand. Cats do not experience their home the way you do. You see furniture. They see a map. Every piece of that environment is mentally catalogued. The escape routes, the safe zones, the high spots, the hiding places. They know exactly where everything is and what it means for their survival. When you rearrange a room without warning, that map gets shattered overnight, and your cat has to rebuild it from scratch, while managing the anxiety of not knowing if their environment is safe anymore. Studies on feline stress show that environmental unpredictability is one of the leading triggers of anxiety in domestic cats. This is also why moving house is so hard on cats, and why some cats stop eating or hide for days in a new apartment, even when nothing about the new place is actually dangerous. It is not the new furniture that scares them. It is the absence of a known escape plan. If you need to rearrange or bring something new in, do it gradually. Give them time to investigate on their own terms. Let them feel like they have a say, even if that say is just sniffing the new couch for 10 minutes before deciding it is acceptable. 5. Rushing introductions to new pets or people. Have you ever brought someone new home and immediately let them walk straight up to your cat? Maybe a new partner, a friend, a baby, or a second pet, and you figured your cat would just adjust. But your cat was already running a very different calculation. Cats are not socially wired the way dogs are. They do not default to trust. Every new presence in their environment is a potential threat until proven otherwise, and that process takes time on their terms, not yours. When you force or rush that introduction, you're overriding your cat's entire threat evaluation system, and the message they receive is not, "This new person is safe." The message is, "My owner does not care that I am scared." Research on feline social behaviour shows that cats who are given gradual controlled introductions form significantly stronger and more lasting bonds both with the new addition and with their primary owner. This matters even more with new pets, because a rushed introduction between a resident cat and a new animal can create tension that lasts months or even years long after the actual threat, if there ever was one, is gone. The right way to do this is to let your cat observe from a distance first. No forcing, no cornering, no picked up and handed over. Let them approach when they are ready. It might take days, it might take weeks, but the trust they build through that process is unbreakable. 6. Forcing affection when your cat has already said no. This is different from waking them up. This is about the moments when your cat is fully awake, fully alert, and has already told you through their body that they are not in the mood, and you keep going anyway. Maybe you want to cuddle on the couch and they try to walk away, so you scoop them back into your lap. Maybe a guest wants to hold them, and you physically hand your cat over despite the stiff body and flattened ears. To you, it looks like a small moment. To your cat, it is a lesson in something far more important than affection. It is a lesson about whether their own boundaries mean anything in this house. Every time a cat tries to leave and is physically prevented from leaving, they learn that their attempts to communicate do not change the outcome. And once an animal learns that its signals are pointless, it tends to do one of two things. It either escalates to something more dramatic, like a bite or a scratch, because the quiet signals clearly were not enough, or it shuts down entirely and becomes what owners often mistake for a calm, easy-going cat, when really it is a cat who has simply stopped trying to communicate because nothing ever worked. Real trust is built on the opposite pattern. When your cat tries to leave, you let them go, every single time, without guilt-tripping, without just one more minute, without exceptions for guests. The cats who feel the safest with their owners are almost always the ones who know, with complete certainty, that they can walk away whenever they want and nothing bad will happen. 7. Feeding on an inconsistent or unpredictable schedule. Food is one of the clearest ways a cat measures whether their environment is stable. In the wild, a predictable hunting and eating rhythm means survival is on track. In your home, a predictable feeding time tells your cat that the world is running the way it is supposed to. When feeding times swing wildly, sometimes early, sometimes hours late, sometimes forgotten until your cat is meowing at the food bowl out of desperation, you are quietly teaching them that their most basic need is not guaranteed. This shows up as cats who become pushy, vocal and anxious around mealtime, not because they are spoiled, but because uncertainty around food is one of the oldest and deepest sources of stress an animal can experience. It can also show up in the opposite direction, with cats who stop trusting that food will come and begin to overeat the moment it does appear, because some part of them has learned to take what is available right now rather than wait. A consistent feeding schedule, even if it is not perfectly precise to the minute, gives your cat one more piece of evidence every single day that you are dependable. And dependability is the actual foundation that trust is built on top of. 8. Scolding or yelling after the fact instead of in the moment. Or worse, scolding for something they cannot control. A lot of owners come home to a knocked-over plant or a scratched-up chair and immediately raise their voice at the cat sitting nearby, assuming the cat understands the connection between the mess and the punishment. They do not. Cats do not process delayed consequences the way humans do. Yelling at a cat for something that happened an hour ago does not teach them not to do it again. It only teaches them that you are unpredictable and sometimes frightening, which is one of the fastest ways to damage trust, because now your own presence becomes something to brace for rather than something to relax into. This gets even worse when the misbehaviour was never a choice in the first place, like scratching the couch, which is a biological need for claw maintenance and stress release, not defiance. A cat who is yelled at for scratching the only available surface is being punished for something you failed to provide an alternative for. The fix is to stop treating your cat's instinctual behaviours as moral failures and start treating them as information. A scratched couch is not your cat being bad. It is your cat telling you they need a scratching post somewhere more convenient than the one buried in a corner you never visit. 9. Giving them no vertical space or safe high spots to retreat to. In the wild, height means safety. A cat on a tree branch or a rocky ledge can see danger coming and has the advantage over anything approaching from below. That instinct never left your house cat, even after thousands of years of living with humans. When a home offers no shelves, no cat trees, no windowsills, no elevated perches, a cat is left feeling like they are always at ground level, always reachable, always exposed. This matters enormously during stressful moments, like when guests arrive or another pet gets too rowdy, because a cat without a high retreat has nowhere to go to self-regulate, except under furniture. which is a much lower quality form of safety than height. Owners often misread a cat who hides under the bed constantly as simply shy, without realizing that a few strategically placed high perches could transform that same cat into one who feels confident enough to watch the room from above, instead of hiding from it entirely. Giving your cat vertical territory is not decoration. It is giving them back a piece of the control that their instincts are constantly asking for. 10. Treating every vet visit and car ride as a sudden ambush. Think about how most vet trips actually go from your cat's point of view. They are minding their own business, then suddenly grabbed, stuffed into a carrier they rarely see, driven somewhere unfamiliar, handled by strangers, and then driven back home, all without a single moment of warning or preparation. Now imagine that happening to you with zero explanation every few months for your entire life. Of course the carrier becomes a thing to flee from. Of course some cats start hiding the moment they hear the garage door, because they have learned to associate certain sounds and certain objects with that entire chain of distressing events. The damage here is not really about the vet. It is about the carrier and the car becoming permanently linked to fear, and by extension, you become linked to it too, since you are the one doing the grabbing and the driving. Leaving the carrier out as a normal piece of furniture, feeding treats inside it on calm ordinary days, and taking occasional short car rides that do not end at the vet, can slowly rewire that association. So the carrier becomes just another part of the house, instead of a warning sign that something scary is about to happen.